Okay, so first I wanted to say Happy New Year. Why do I feel like I just had like a weird lisp? Sometimes I do it and I can feel it and then I see it in the video. Anyway, Happy New Year, 2025. We all made it. I feel like every year is pretty good. I never have really any complaints about the years prior except for 2020. That was kind of a downer. But other than that, I feel like we always have a good year. And, last year was it was a transition because my daughter moved off to college, but it turned out to be a lot less daunting than I thought it was going to be. I feel like we're just taking these baby steps because she came to visit really often. She's here right now. She's been here for, it feels like a month. We've done so many things together, like she and I, but then also as a family. And so I feel like we're just taking little baby steps, and she's going to be in college for 4 or 5 years, so it's going to be this, back and forth for a while, especially since she has to rely on us, right? Because we're paying all the bills. So if you read the title to this video, then you know that this video is going to be about women who are considered boy pretty versus women who are considered girl pretty. And this is a new concept that I just recently learned on TikTok. I feel like I learn something new every single day on TikTok. If you don't watch TikTok, and if you don't have the app, then I guess I'm just gonna bring TikTok to you because I really do learn a lot there. Now, this is something that's real trivial. I mean, this is not something super important. It is actually for entertainment purposes only, but I thought it was very interesting. So I thought I would bring it, here to YouTube. Okay, so what is the difference between a woman who is boy pretty versus a woman who is girl pretty? It basically all comes down to, as a woman, if you go out in public, or if a particular woman goes out in public, does she typically attract the male gaze or does she typically attract the female gaze? And when I say gaze, I'm not talking about G-A-Y-S. I'm talking about the male gaze, G-A-Z-E. Whenever I was describing this to my husband, he was thinking I was saying like males who are gay versus females who are gay, and that's not what I was talking about. So in order to try to figure out whether a woman is, boy pretty versus girl pretty, you kind of have to answer the question, does she typically attract the male gaze and male validation, or does she typically attract the female gaze and female validation? So that is what this video is going to be about. Okay, so before I get started, I feel like I do have to say, you should never put too much importance on trivial things like, am I boy pretty or am I girl pretty? You know what I mean? Like, this video is, I feel like I have to keep saying it, it's for entertainment purposes only. Beauty is subjective. We all get to choose how we represent ourselves, how we want the world to see us out there in society. And there's no right way or there's no wrong way. We all bring something kind of unique to the table, a unique look. We have unique features. We don't all look the same, obviously. We also have a different perspective on what we think is beautiful, Like I said, beauty is subjective. And I feel like we should also be aware, I think most of us are aware, that beauty is not just physical. There's so many other things that play a role in how beautiful we think somebody else is. Their personality, their confidence, their kindness, their generosity, their intelligence, all of those qualities make a person more beautiful. In other words, there's no one single definition of beauty. I feel like we should all embrace everybody's individuality and their uniqueness and what they bring to the table, because how boring would it be if we all looked alike and we all dressed alike and we all made the same choices, that would be so boring. So anyway, celebrate your own unique features, your own qualities, your own style, and don't read too much into this video. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with boy pretty. And first I'm just gonna give you an example of like a celebrity and then tell you all the characteristics and stuff about what makes up the qualities and features of a girl or a woman who would be considered boy pretty. So I would say that a quintessential example of a woman who would be considered boy pretty would be Megan Fox. But also Angelina Jolie, Sofia Vergara, Pam Anderson, Raquel Welch. All of these women kind of have similar qualities about themselves. They all have kind of that sex appeal. They have that alluring kind of bombshell look. So a woman who is boy pretty is typically considered beautiful across the board. They are undeniably, almost universally beautiful. Men, women, children, the elderly, even cross-culturally, these women are thought of as beautiful. They all possess certain features and certain qualities that society as a whole deems beautiful. For example, most often they have symmetrical, fuller faces. They have bigger eyes, they have smaller noses, they have fuller lips, they have contrasting features, they typically have longer hair, they typically have nice skin. They also have what most people in general would consider very attractive, very feminine body proportions, curves, a lot of sex appeal, and just an alluring kind of quality about them. Now, when it comes to fashion, boy pretty women typically choose flattery over like creative fashion. They're not wearing a lot of layers. They're actually trying to create kind of sex appeal by emphasizing their shape and their proportions. They're not wearing a lot of accessories. They're not wearing a lot of scarves or oversized blazers or doing things to hide, their figure. And as far as makeup is concerned, they're not going overboard with the makeup. They're not doing the fake eyelashes. They're not doing the heavy contour. It's almost like the no makeup look. They're creating what gives the illusion that they're just very naturally beautiful. And when it comes to their hair, they're not doing a lot to it. It's usually pretty long. I think men definitely, without a doubt, typically prefer women with longer hair. They also prefer more of just a lived-in kind of tousled look, not a very structured look, not all the trending, styles right now, the bangs. A lot of men do not care for bangs. So bangs or short hair like mine are not typically boy pretty. So how do other women view boy pretty women? Usually other women view boy pretty women as a threat. We don't want our men, our husbands, our boyfriends, our fiancés working really close with a boy pretty woman. We don't want them to be their best friend. We don't want to come home and be like, yeah, Megan Fox is here. We're just hanging out. We're just chilling. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm so sorry. That's not comfortable to most women. Boy pretty women also don't typically belong to big friend groups. Usually they're kind of pushed out of the big friend groups. There's typically a lot of jealousy involved. I think that most women act like, oh, who cares about the male gaze? A lot of women do, especially if you're not married or you don't have a boyfriend. The last thing you want to do is go out as a group with your bombshell boy pretty friend, and then she's going to get all the attention. So they are typically pushed out of friend groups. They usually have really small circles, maybe one or two friends that they hang out with, and they typically have a little bit harder of a time making friends. In addition, when they do go out in public, if they get a compliment, it's almost never from another woman. It's typically from men. So that is pretty much, a boy pretty girl wrapped up in a nutshell. Okay, so now let's move on to girl pretty. A perfect example of someone who would be considered girl pretty would be Sarah Jessica Parker, Kate Moss, Victoria Beckham. So a woman who is considered girl pretty usually has a very unconventional, very unique, and interesting type of beauty. They also attract a lot of admiration from other women, usually because they have a very unique style. They're very bold, they're very creative. They take risks with fashion and makeup and hair. When it comes to girl pretty, when it comes to fashion, there's definitely an emphasis on creativity and uniqueness over flattery. Not to say that they can't create, combinations that also flatter their figure, but typically it's more focused on creativity and interest. So they're throwing on all the layers. They have the scarves, they're doing the bold accessories, they're putting in the hair extensions, they're putting on the false lashes, they're putting on the fake nails, they're putting on the mixed match patterns, they're pushing the envelope, they're taking risks when it comes to fashion. A lot of women that are considered girl pretty are actually kind of trendsetters. They're out there saying, I know what the trends are, I'm going to stick with the trends for the most part, but I'm also going to push the envelope. And they do that also with hair. Like with hair, a lot of times it can be hair extensions, but also it can be just real extravagant moves like a French bob or just something that's very different and unconventional when it comes to what most people would consider like a beauty standard. And it's those things that most women appreciate. Girl pretty is typically appreciated mostly by other women. First of all, we know the effort that it takes. We know when a woman has put a lot of effort into her makeup application. You know, she's doing the contour, she's doing the highlights, the fake lashes, the winged eyeliner, and we can appreciate it because we know the effort that goes into it. And so girl pretty is typically the female gaze, and it is the appreciation from one woman to another saying, wow, you did that. And most women appreciate it and celebrate it. Like, we love when we see a woman do things that are risky, you know, especially when it comes to fashion, especially when it comes to hair, especially when it comes to the beauty standards out there, you know, and you're willing to go like, I don't even care. You know, I want to do this because this is how I feel and this is how I feel is going to represent me the best. Anyway, that is kind of girl pretty in a nutshell. So how do women view other women who are considered girl pretty? Actually, very, very well. I feel like women who are considered girl pretty are the most beloved women by other women. And most women who are girl pretty receive a lot of admiration from other women based on their fashion and their makeup application and their style and the fact that they stay on trend or they're, you know, kind of fashion forward and things like that. Other women are typically very comfortable with their men being around girl pretty women. They're not perceived as a threat. They're actually almost perceived like a girl's girl. And when these women go out in public, they are always complimented by other women on their makeup application, their hair, their fashion, but they're typically not complimented by other men. So in a nutshell, that is the difference between boy pretty versus girl pretty. Now, one thing that I did want to mention is that there are some women who kind of fall into both categories, like they're boy pretty and they are girl pretty. Like they're just part of the elite, right? They get it all right. They have this beautiful, conventional, you know, universally beautiful look to them. But then on top of it, they just really know how to tap into their creative style and uniqueness and stuff like that. And I think that one actress that kind of encompasses that is Margot Robbie. Like, I think it's undeniable that she's beautiful, probably across the board, men, women, children, the elderly, cross-culturally. But then on top of it, she has a very unique, creative sense of style. Like, she knows how to dress her figure really cute, but then she's also very creative with it. And I just think she's beautiful. And I feel like she just kind of epitomizes the combination of boy pretty and girl pretty. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you don't put too much importance into the information or the concepts that I shared in this video. It was all for entertainment purposes only. It's just something that I learned on TikTok, and I thought that I would bring it here to you guys. And I'm actually glad that I learned it. Like, I feel like it was very interesting, and I enjoyed, you know, kind of learning about it. And actually, whenever I go out in the world now, I'm like, you're very girl pretty, you're very boy pretty, you know? And then there are those few, obviously, who are both girl pretty and boy pretty, and you're like, damn you. Like, why do you have to exist? I'm just kidding. More power to them, right? Like, I wish I was boy pretty and girl pretty. I'm probably neither. I don't feel like I fit into either category very well. But anyway, like I said, it was just for entertainment purposes, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you're having a great weekend, and hopefully I will see you back here next week.